It's in my hand.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Nana's Keepsakes. I am the owner and creator, and tonight we are again doing a completely new petal. Let me get my camera moved a little bit so you guys can see my table. We'll wait for a few people. Oh, we have somebody popping on, and I bet that's Kim Mills. Hopefully my comments will come up as everybody is popping in. And yep, hi Kim, how are you? Thanks for coming tonight. Hi Robin, hi Bonnie. Welcome you guys. So I am Kim, and I am the owner and creator of Nana's Keepsake. Hey Julie. Julie will be helping us tonight. So if I miss a question, or if Julie misses it, ask it again and we'll make sure that it gets answered. Also, my daughter is here tonight, Carissa, and she's going to be reading me comments just in case I don't see it, because I've been having issues with my computer. I cannot, for whatever reason, get my comments up. So let's get started. Tonight we're going to do not a brand new petal. We're going to do the reverse Star Trek and the regular Star Trek on a small Unique in the Creek board. Hi Terry, hi Phyllis. Thanks so much for coming, ladies. So I got most of my board loaded. And again, this is the small Unique in the Creek. Oh no, sun. I've already put my hanger on, and it's just a matter of, I go down about 2 inches. I kind of twist it, go in through this way, twist it and go back through, and then just twist it and bring it down. And that way it's nice and strong for hanging. For this wreath, we're using rows 2, 3, and 4. On rows 3 and 4, we're using all the holes. Yes, it's gonna, yeah, the one that I did last night definitely will be in my Etsy shop. I just haven't had a chance to get it uploaded. I went back to work today and it was a little hectic, but I will definitely get that uploaded tonight. So again, we're not only using the normal holes on rows 2 or 3 and 4, but we're also using shared holes. So it kind of looks like this, if you can see that, how it looks like it's all stitched around. And then on row 2, you'll see there's the normal holes. I'll bring it a little bit closer. These are what's called normal holes. These are called share holes. So instead of going into your normal holes, you want to go into the shared holes. So we're going to have 16 petals on row 2. We're going to have 16 petals on row 3. And I think I'm going to do 12 petals on row 4. But I would still, if you didn't want to do 12, you could just put 8. And that's going to be the normal Star Trek petal. Okay? Any questions? All right, so once again, I'm sure everybody knows how to do the zip ties, but let's go through the little spiel again. I only have 4 to put on here. These are 6-inch zip ties, and what you want to make sure is that the flat side is always facing up to the ceiling. Hey Mom, thanks for coming. Krista, your grandma's on.
Hi Grandma.
So then what we're going to do is, with that facing up, we're going to go into those 2 holes that are a little bit larger than the normal. So we're going to put a zip tie here, 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 and here, okay? And again, that's going to be a total of 16 zip ties on row 2, going only into the shared. Hi Ella, thank you so much for coming. All right, we got 2 more zip ties. I'm using 6-inch zip ties because these holes are spread a little bit further apart. They're kind of a nice size. You don't have to worry about them being really short and then struggling to try and get your petal into them. Okay, 1 more. And then we can start with doing the reverse Star Trek petal, because that's going to go on row 2 and row 3. And again, this is what our back looks like. If you guys wanted to take a screenshot of that. So 16 here, 16 petals here, and then I will be putting 12 petals there. But basically you're using 8. Hi Connie, thanks so much for coming in. All right, so we're just going to put the board aside. And I've made some petals already. So this is the reverse Star Trek petal. Sorry guys. This is, so I'll show you guys how to do it. Let me grab my mesh. So I cut all my pieces tonight 10.5 inches because my mesh is actually 10.5 inches. I wanted to make sure that it was going to be a perfect square. And this is, again, the horizontal wide stripe mesh. I did get this from Unique in a Creek, and I believe when I checked it last night, they still had this mesh in stock. I should have checked it today, but I didn't. And from what Lori said last night, I believe it's $5.90 a roll. Okay, so we're gonna start with curl side up. I like to have my factory edge to my top left and my bottom right. And I'm going to take my upper corner and I'm going to meet it down at the bottom corner. And then I'm just going to press it out just like this. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my right side and bring it over to the left. So it looks like it's going to be a smaller triangle. Just like that. A lot of times, because I want my point to be perfect, because it's my OCD, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the color of the mesh is called smoke blue. Now, I did see they had a country blue too, which might be a little bit lighter, but I think this one is actually smoke blue, which kind of reminds me of the country feel. Okay, so now what we're going to do is you're going to take your middle finger and your thumb, and you're going to put it on each of the corners. And then what I do is I grab the tip and I'm just going to pull it. So that way these 2 corners are kind of even. Okay. And then I'm going to take my finger and push that center in just like that. So it looks like this so far. And then I'm going to just bring my sides in to meet it. And there is your reverse Star Trek petal. And then what I'm going to do is, because there's so much of this accent that you don't need, it would be too much to put into your board. Also, it would get in the way of putting your next petal. So we're going to cut this off. And hopefully I don't have the same thing that happened last night by cutting my finger. And then I'm just going to take a little, I buy these Dollar Tree clear rubber bands. You get 500 of them in a pack for, I think it's $1.25. And I'm going to put it around, because a lot of times I like to make my petals ahead of time and kind of put them in my bin. And then that way I just start putting the the wreath together. So we're just going to grab the board. We're going to start putting some petals on. And then I can, when I get halfway, I can show you it's very sore, Kim. It's still been bleeding. I probably should have maybe went to have it checked out, to be honest. But isn't that the life of a crafter? Okay, so let's start anywhere on the board. We're just going to start putting them in. I'm going to yank, pull it a little bit tight. In fact, we can wait there. And then I'm going to put my next one in. And I kind of want to make sure that my tips are going to line up. Can you guys see that? I want to make sure that they're going to be nice and even. And just pull it tight. And they're just going to butt up together. Hi, Dorothy. How are you this evening? Again, this is called the reverse Star Trek petal.
He moved the camera.
He may move the camera.
He bumped into me.
So there's 16 petals on this row, on row 2. And my mesh is cut 10.5 by 10.5 because I wanted to make sure that it was a perfect square when I went to go and form my triangle. So once you get your petals made, as you guys can kind of see, it does go pretty fast. And let me get a couple more on here, and then I can show you guys again how to do the petal. Right now it's looking kind of, I know it's probably looking kind of weird because there's a space in between the board. Let me lift it up so you guys can see it. But that's good, because what's going to happen is when you go to put your petals on row 3, your petals are going to fit right in between it. So just like that. So it looks kind of weird because you see that space, but that's okay. So this is what we got so far. I am going to show you again how to do the petals because I want to make sure that anybody who comes on, you know, a little bit later, that they know how to do it. Again, my mesh is cut at 10.5 by 10.5. I'm going to do curl side up. I'm going to put it in a diamond. My my factory edge is up at my left and my bottom right. We're going to take the corner and we're going to fold it down to the other corner to make a triangle. Just press it down. And then we're going to take the right side, or depending on if you're right-handed or left-handed, whatever is your choice, but you're going to take the one corner and fold it over to the opposite corner and just fold that down. And what I do, just to kind of help me a little bit, because I like to have a very a good point, I like to put just a little clip right there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the top. I'm going to take my middle finger and my thumb and put it down on the 2 corners. And then I'm just going to pull. Just like that. Almost looks like a shoe. And then once you have that, you're going to press that middle down. So that way it's kind of gathered. It looks kind of funky right now, I know. Hi, Donna. Thank you so much for coming. But that's okay. And then you're going to kind of just bring the sides in to meet that center. And just kind of fix your petal a little bit. You want to make sure you got that nice little ridge in the middle. And that's your reverse Star Trek. You might have to sometimes put it in your hand and just kind of play with it a little bit. You want to make sure that your point is going straight up. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut some of this extra tail. Don't need it. It gets in the way of the board. And we're going to put just a little rubber band on it. Just kind of, you know, just kind of mess with it a little bit. And there it is. Make my fingers sore, Donna. That's why I don't want to cut myself again. So let's get the rest of these on row 2 into the board. Again, making sure that my tips are pretty much lining up. Hi, Terry. It's not bad, Terry. I mean, I thought making these petals would be really hard, but it's not. You made this Charlotte petal today, Ella? I bet it worked easier with the pot burlap.
No, you leave the rubber band on.
Yes, I do leave the rubber band on. I do not take it off because it gets covered by the zip tie. You don't see it. You think the horizontal would be better? Really? I thought it was, I mean, I love the horizontal. It's a little stiff, and I just thought maybe poly burlap would be a little bit easier to work with. I know, I too, I love this smoke blue. It so reminds me of the country field.
Connie asked, can you use Deco poly mesh?
I don't see why not. To be honest, Connie, when I make regular Star Trek petal, a lot of my wreaths are made with the Deco poly mesh. And that's just doing the regular Star Trek petal. So let's get we got 3 more on this row, and we can go on to row 3. Really? You see, it didn't look like mine? Was it the fold, Phyllis? Oh no. Sometimes if you pull too hard, just kind of squeeze your petal back in. And let's see. We got one more petal right here.
Carla says, hey there, joining late.
Hi, Carla. Welcome. You're not late. If I'm still here, you're not late. You're joining the party. So let's get these zip ties cut. I can show you what it looks like so far just with the first row of doing the reverse Star Trek petal.
Dorothy asked, is it silver?
Is it silver? What's silver? The mesh? The mesh is the smoky blue. Can you see it?
It does look kind of silver.
Yeah, I guess it does, doesn't it? The way the lighting is.
Mm-hmm.
Is that better? Can you see that? Smoke blue. Yep, it's smoke blue. So this is our first row, row 2. Again, for the ones that have come in, you have your normal holes and you have your shared holes. I went into the shared holes. I didn't even use the normal holes. So there is 16 zip ties going around row 2. Now we're going to go into row 3, and I used every hole, the normal plus the shared, for a total of 16. And again, we're going to put the reverse petal in this one. Yeah, you're right. The horizontal is a little bit crisp. I think the petal is a little bit stiffer also. Okay, so let's do the petal again.
Connie said, how do you know which row to use?
How do you know what row to use? You know, when a lot of times when I'm just deciding to design a flower wreath, I'll make a couple petals and I'll just lay them on the board. And then that way I kind of know where I want the petals to fit. I guess, and the other thing is, you know, there has been other designers that, especially Unique in the Creek, that have been working with these boards. So they have a lot of different tutorials that where they've done petals and have put it on the board. But for me, a lot of times I will actually lay the petal out and decide how many petals I want per zip tie. And that's why a lot of people, when they hear I do like 100 petals on a small board, they think I'm crazy. And that's because I add a lot of extra petals, so that way when you have your 2 petals on the outside, when you go to your next row, it's laying in between. Does that make sense? I hope. Okay, so we're still do the reverse. We're going to do 10.5 by 10.5. That's what my mesh is cut at. Curl side up. We're going to take the corner, fold it down to the other corner. Just flatten it out. I'm taking my right side and I'm going to bring it over to my left side to make another smaller diamond. And then just to help me do things, keep my tip pretty straight, I just put a little clip in there. It just kind of helps me. And then now I'm going to grab these 2 ends, and I'm going to grab my top, and I'm going to just pull them together. Just like that. And then I'm going to push down the middle. So it looks like I got 2 bumps in the middle. And then I'm just going to bring my sides to meet it. You might have to play with the petal a little bit, but that is your reverse. You want to make sure that you got the 2 that is kind of divoted in the center. Now we're going to cut off that excess mesh. And I'm just going to rubber band the end. And then a lot of times too, I'll just kind of play with it when it's in my hand. And normally, by making these petals, my petals are 5 inches from the tip to the rubber band. And now we're going to go to row 3. Again, we're going in every single, not only the shared holes, but also the normal holes. And you can start anywhere on the board and just start placing them in here. Looks like a lot of zip ties, I know, but... And as you can see, as I'm starting to lay these petals, they are basically going right in between my two outside. You can just kind of pull it a little bit. So let's get some more on the board. This one is kind of like that that wreath I did a couple weeks ago, where I did the reverse Star Trek petal, and then I put the 8-inch sign in the center, and that was made with the royal blue poly burlap. But for this one, I thought I wanted to try the horizontal wide stripe to see how it would work.
Connie wants to know, how do you know where to start on the board?
You can basically start anywhere on the board, Connie. Some people, they have the habit of starting at the top. Since I know that I'm using every single hole, I just start anywhere.
Grandma's very excited about that. She said yes with a heart.
Grandma's excited?
Yeah, she said yes with a heart.
I mean, if you want to, Connie, I can do, I'll come up with more tutorials on different petals and placing them on the boards, just until, you know, you get familiar with the board too. I don't want people to be afraid of the board, because when they see all these holes, they're like, oh my gosh, you know, where do I start? Where do I begin? It's really not that hard. You just have to remember 2 holes. You have to put a zip tie in it. And then depending on the petal and how you want it to look, I mean, you can basically design it any way that you like also. And it also depends on what size your petals are. If your petals are a little bit bigger than this, then you're probably not going to need as many petals on your board, especially if you were to do a Dean Michael petal, even a Rita petal, anything else, Julie, that you can think of for petals that would be a little bit larger, that they wouldn't have to use. Oh, the pinwheel petal. That's another one. Yes, you need, Terry, you definitely need to get these boards. You must have learned scary boards from Mindy, because that's what Mindy's has always called them. And now she has done a couple. I don't know if she loves them, but she has been at least giving them a try. The thing I like, I mean, don't get me wrong, guys. I still love using my wire wreath frames, especially when I do a mesh wreath. Even when I do a Star Trek petal, that I have one that's called the Tequila Sunrise, and one that's just all yellow, and I use regular deco mesh. I think it's got like 54 petals on it. I put it on a 6-inch wire frame, and I just like the way it looks. I thought about, you know, trying to put it on a Unique and a Creek board, but sometimes, as you guys can tell, depending on what row you start on, I mean, these wreaths can get very, very large. Wireframes are scary, really? Well, tomorrow night, if you guys want to join me, I am going to be working with an 8-inch wire wreath frame. And not the one that you guys get from the Dollar Tree. I think I got my 8-inch from Michael's or something, because it's got 4 rows. And I am going to do a Rita sunflower petal on that. So for some of you that, you know, haven't used the wireframes, I will show you how to do those. All right, so let me put this one in, and then I'll show you how to do the reverse petal one more time, because we only have 3 more petals. I've never tried the Dollar Tree boards, Phyllis, so I wouldn't know. I've seen some people work with them, and that, yeah, all those holes just seem very overwhelming. Hi, Danilyn. Thanks for coming tonight. So again, we are doing the reverse Star Trek petal. I cut my mesh at 10.5 by 10.5. This is the smoke blue horizontal. Can you guys kind of see that? The smoke blue wide stripe mesh. And I cut it at 10.5 because when you purchase a horizontal wide stripe, it's always 10.5 inches wide by 10 yards. So now we're going to do petal side up. I'm going to put it in diamond shape. I'm going to bring my top corner down to my bottom, and I'm just going to smooth it out.
Julie says never use Dollar Tree boards.
And then I'm going to bring my right side over to my left side, because I want to make a smaller triangle. And this is where you're going to see that it's going to resemble a Star Trek petal. And then I always put a little clip out here just to kind of hold my point, so it's nice. Hey, Janie. Oh my gosh. Janie is Carissa's boyfriend.
God.
I didn't know what to call him. He's kind of like a son. Hey, Nancy, thanks so much for coming. I appreciate you guys joining me. So now what we're going to do is I grab the tip always, and then I'm going to take my thumb and my middle finger, and I'm just going to pull that mesh until it almost looks like a shoe. I kind of make sure that my ends are even, and then I'm going to push down the middle. So that's where you start getting your little dimple in there. Yes, there is a modified wreath board, and she's on Etsy because I have bought it. The board is like 9 inches, and I have used it to make I've done a feather petal on the modified, which I can do a live sometime with that also. Okay, so now I'm just gonna, since I have my center pinch, I'm just gonna bring my sides together and just kind of shape it a little bit, and there's my reverse. Okay, all this extra stuff, let me switch hands. I'm gonna cut that off, those ends, because you don't need it, just kind of gets in the way. And then I'm just going to put a rubber band around it, just so I can get it into the board. And just kind of play with it. I like to kind of play with it just to make sure my point is nice and pointy. And now we can finish putting the last 4 onto the board. We have 3 more, and then we can go into the center, and that's where we're going to do the normal Star Trek petal for my center. And so far at this point, if you guys didn't want to continue making any more petals, you're happy with the way that this wreath looks, you can definitely add an 8-inch sign in the center. Or if you had a different center you wanted to add, you could do that too. Whatever you want to add, you can do. If you feel at this point that you didn't want to add any more. So then this is what your wreath would be looking like. And then, I know, hi Barbara. Yeah, I do too. Love the way this petal looks. So if you wanted to, you could add your 8-inch sign, or if you had an 8-inch padded board with the material on it, or if you bought one of the centers from Craft Outlet or whatever.
Show the back.
Absolutely. So here's the back. This is row 2. We went in the shared holes, not the normal holes, for a total of 16 going around row 2. Row 3, I've used every single hole, including the normal plus the share, and then on row 4, I used the normal plus the share holes for a total of 8. You're welcome. So again, this is what we have so far. But what we're going to do now is I'm going to change it up just a tad. Where did I get this mesh? I did get from Unique in a Creek. And like I said, I did check last night, and they still had the smoke blue on their website.
There's one question asking, how long does Unique in the Creek take for delivery?
Actually, it's not that long. Is Kim Mills still on here? I know she had ordered something, and I think it was maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks at the most. It really wasn't that long. I was surprised on how fast. All right, so now we are going to do the Star Trek petal. This one, believe it or not, guys, doing this petal the way everybody else does it was a struggle. When I first learned how to do the Star Trek petal, I had bought a tutorial from Julie's Wreath Boutique. I don't know if you guys have ever watched her, but she went and did this petal, and she didn't call it the Star Trek. She called it something else. So I got spoiled doing it that way. But unfortunately, because it's a paid tutorial, I can't show you. So I had to, the last couple nights, I've had to learn how to make a normal Star Trek petal like you guys do. So please bear with me. I will, if I do something wrong, tell me right away. Okay, so again, my mesh is the same as when I did the reversed. It's 10.5 by 10.5. We're going to do the curl side up, and we're just basically going to fold it down to the other corner. We're going to flatten it out like we do for the reverse. And then I'm going to take my right corner, and I'm just going to bring it over to the left corner. And I lost my, okay, whatever. All right, so here, this is where, so what I do is just kind of pull it a little bit, so that way it kind of, you get that little Star Trek feeling. And then what I've seen people do is they kind of pinch the center a little bit, and then they bring in their sides. God, I hope I'm teaching this right to you, for you guys. And then they kind of scoop it. Does that look right? for some of you ladies who have made the Star Trek petal the normal way. And then a lot of times what I like to do is, if I think it's not, you know, completely pointy enough, I just kind of play with the petal a little bit. And then I'm just going to squeeze it together, and I'm just going to cut off all this excess. You don't need it. And I'm just going to rubber band it. So, and you just kind of scoop it, kind of like a scoop. So this is your normal Star Trek. Now, because I have only 8 zip ties, I kind of went back and forth. Normally when I do any of my regular Star Trek petal wreaths, I always put 12 in the center. I don't just put 8. And where I put the extra petal is in my shared, which is, looking at the back of the board, are these right here, because they're a little bit further apart. And that's where I'm able to get 2 petals. It gets very tight in there. No, I used 1 whole roll of mesh and probably about, I think it was 12 extra pieces. Yes, tostada scoop, exactly. Now, if you wanted to do, you know, this row different color, you could, and then that way you would be using different colors of mesh. But I decided to do this one all in the same color. So I'm going to put my first one, and it's going up like a scoop. And I'm going to make sure that I put this first petal in that small normal hole. And when you first put it in there, it's going to look weird because it's sitting up. But once you get all the other petals, it'll be fine. And then, because to make my life easier, since I'm going to put the 2 petals together in a shared, I rubber band them together so they look like bunny ears. Danilin, this is the horizontal white stripe in the smoke blue. And then all I'm going to do is, going into that shared hole, I'm going to put those 2 petals, still making sure that my petals are even on top here. And then I'm going to grab another single and put that in the normal. Like I said, it's going to get very tight in here, but that's okay. Mesh is forgivable. You can kind of just move it out of the way. You're welcome. Now I'm going to grab another one of my 2 petals, the bunny ears, and I am going to put that in the share hole. And as soon as I get this one in, I will show you what it looks like so far, putting the extra petals in. So not everybody has to do it like this. This is just how I like to do it. I like it just to be a little bit more full. Let me cut the wire tie, the zip ties real quick. And this is what we have so far. So since we only have a few more petals, let's do the regular Star Trek one more time. Yeah, Danilyn, I think it would look really cool as a patriotic wreath too. I'm definitely going to be playing around with this wreath and making some more different colors. Okay, so we're going to do curl side up, just like how you do the reversed. We're going to bring the corner down to the other corner, and we're just going to fold it down, and then we're just going to take the right, and we're going to go over and meet it to the left, or if you want to do it the opposite. Thanks, Danilyn. So from this, it already starting to look like your Star Trek.
You got a request to do the reverse one more time.
You know what? I'll do it because this is my last piece of mesh. So, Carrie, thanks so much for joining. I will show you how to do it. It's basically the same way. So it's gonna, you got that diamond shape right now. And then what you're gonna do is, I like to pull on the tip, and then I take my middle finger and my thumb, I put it on each corner, and then I pull the two corners together. So it kind of looks like a shoe. And then from there, once I kind of make sure that my ends are even, I'm going to just push it down. So now I got my little divot right in the center here. This is the horizontal wide stripe mesh in the smoke blue. Michelle, thanks so much for coming. And then once I have that middle pinch, I'm just going to bring my sides together. And there is your reversed Star Trek petal. So now from here, since we are doing the regular Star Trek petal, I'm just going to pull it a little bit. I don't need to pull it too much. And then I'm just going to kind of pinch the center just a little bit. Not a whole bunch, just kind of where my imaginary line, I'm just going to pinch. And then I'm just going to bring my sides together.
Evie says that is so cool. I think people like that petal a lot.
And there you go. And you just kind of keep, if you don't like how it looks, just kind of keep forming it, because you want to try and get it to where it looks like a scoop. And once I have that done, then I'm just going to cut off the extra. I'm just going to cut this extra because you don't need it. It's too much. And then I'm just going to rubber band the end. Thank you, Evie. Did that make sense, Carrie, how I showed both petals? And then once I have it rubber band, I just kind of keep pressing the inside so that way it kind of looks like the scoop. So now that we only have a few more petals to finish this off on row 4, again, what I'm doing is on my shared zip ties, I am putting 2 petals in, and in the normal holes, I'm only putting 1. So that way there is a total of 12, okay, in my center of the regular Star Trek petal. So we're gonna put the normal one in, the single one first. And then in the shared hole, I put 2 petals together, and I just rubber band them because they're a lot easier to put on the board if they're rubber band together. And these are going to go in the shared holes. And like I said, it's going to get a little tight in here. That's okay. They will fit. Now we're going to put a single. And I'm just still making sure that my tips are pretty much even. I use the 6-inch zip ties, Janelyn, only because I knew some of these petals were going to be a little thicker, so I wanted to make sure I wasn't going to be fighting with the zip ties being too short. And then this is my last 2 petals going into the shared hole. And this one you'll have to really just kind of maneuver it in there, and it'll fit in there nicely. And let me cut the zip ties. And that's what we have so far. Nope. Go ahead, Evie. I would love for you to try. You're welcome, Danilyn. Okay. So now that I'm just going to recap just real quick, just so anybody that came in a little bit late, I'm going to show you the back of the board. Thank you, Terry. Thank you, Barbara. So this is the small Unique in a Creek board. And you have your row 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm using rows 2, 3, and 4. On row 2, we're going into the shared holes for a total of 16 zip ties going around. Don't go into the normal holes, okay? Then on the row 3, I went into every hole. I went into not only the normal, but I went into the shared, and that's also for a total of 16. Thank you, Phyllis. And for my final row 4, I went in not only the normal, but I also went into the share for a total of 8, but I put 12 petals in my center. So I put 2 petals in the shared holes, and I put 1 petal in the normal hole. So that is a total of 44 petals. And that's why I needed a little bit more than 1.5 rows. Not quite a half. Thank you, Julie. All right. So now for this, in order to complete this, I did a new center. Carissa is holding my center hostage right now. So because I wanted this to have a country feel, and I know a lot of people have been making these, I decided to make my very own padded fabric and no injuries. Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you. So I made my own center. This is a 6-inch. It's got padding. And I did put a pipe cleaner on the back, and I finished it off with a piece of felt so it looks nice. And so we're going to use this as the center. Okay. Thank you, Ella. And all I'm going to do, I'm going to find out where the top of my board is. And because I put my pipe cleaner up here, I am just going to take my pipe cleaners and I'm going to put it in this hole and this hole so it kind of goes across, okay? And then I'm just going to turn it over. And when I turn it over, you don't have to do it super tight, but you want to kind of make sure that it's somewhat tight. Oh, thank you, Danilyn. My nails. They're from Easter. I decided to do purple. Never did that before. Hi, Karen. Thank you so much for coming. So I'm just going to take my pipe cleaner and I'm just going to twist it a couple times. And then what I like to do is cut just a little bit off my pipe cleaners. Not much, just a little bit. And then I am going to stick the pipe cleaner back through the hole. So then that way you never have to worry about it scratching anybody's door. And what I usually do is, once this is completely done, I take my business card and I glue my business card. So this way, if somebody was to purchase this wreath and they didn't remember who, hey Frida, thanks so much for stopping in. If they want to know who they purchased the wreath from last year, all I got to do is turn the wreath over, they see my business card, and they know how to contact me. So now for the final, here we go. So here is your country wreath. What do you think?
I wish I had ooh and ahs recorded.
Thank you, Donna. Thank you, Dorothy. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Evie. Dorothy, Robin, thank you guys so much. Yes, get more business cards. Thank you, Mom. Thank you, Terry. I appreciate it. Oh, Bonnie, thank you guys. I really appreciate you guys so much. So what an easy little thing, you know, that's, I don't know, to me, it really screamed country, especially with this color mesh. And then when I had this material laying around, I know there's been other people making these centers, but I wanted to make one myself. If anybody is interested, of course, I can make centers for you guys. They are 6-inch, so they fit perfect on the small Unique in the Creek board, with doing the reverse Star Trek petal and the normal Star Trek petal. And if anybody's interested, this wreath will be available also. Oh, thank you, Kathy and Lisa and Missy and Connie. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. You guys, I can't even tell you how much I appreciate it. You guys coming on for day number 2. So we have one more night, and that's tomorrow night. And actually, I will be doing it on a wire wreath frame. We're going to do the old-fashioned sunflower. How much would this sell for? I'm thinking, I guess I'll have to kind of sit and figure things out, but I'm thinking at least 65, Danilin. I will get this one up on my website, my Etsy shop, which is Nana's Keepsakes by Kim. If anybody is interested in the one that I did last night, also the one tonight. If you guys are interested in any of the centers, the quilted center I made last night, or one of these centers, shoot me a message. If there's something, a certain color that you want, just let me know. And if you guys need your boards, your this mesh, because a lot of people, for whatever reason, they are not carrying this mesh right now. Unique in a Creek still had some fabulous colors, and I believe from what Lori said last night, I think it's $5.60 a roll, which is pretty reasonable. Thank you, Ella. Appreciate it. Thank you, Phyllis. Yes, I will definitely see you ladies all tomorrow night. And again, thank you for coming. Please be blessed and have a wonderful evening. All right, see you guys tomorrow night. Mwah. Bye.